If you're looking for a pro wrestling podcast with me, Buster Unmasked is the only podcast for you, where real pro wrestlers talk real pro wrestling and no bullshit allowed. All right, guys, we're here. We're live. You're watching Buster Unmasked, and look, you can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on X, but most of all, every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Central Time, catch us on the Genesis TV network. It's on Roku. It's on Fire Stick. They have a website. Go check us out. That's every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Central Time. Look, y'all, we got a great show, man. My guest today, you've seen this man on Bluff City Wrestling. He is a mainstay at APW, All Pro Wrestling out of Marianna, Arkansas. And he is currently the workhorse champion out of APW. Austin Wrathchild. I'm a little off tonight, dude. You can see that.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It happens to the best of us, man.
Brother, I'm glad you're here, man. It's a pleasure to meet you. This is actually the first time we've ever met.
Yes, sir, it is. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Look, dude, before we even get started and get into all the normal podcast stuff, I want you to talk to me about the APW Workhorse Championship. Tell me what this championship is, what it's about, and tell me what being the APW Workhorse Champion means to you.
Okay. There's a lot that goes into the APW Workhorse Championship, both inside and outside the ring. Now, obviously, inside the ring, it's constant grind, always trying to improve, trying to be better than you were the day before, and especially better than the guy you're in the ring with. And outside the ring, it just means helping the show as much as you can. I mean, busting your tail. I mean, setting up rings, tearing down rings, setting up shows, doing anything and everything you can to help make the show better. And excuse me, really it's a title to show how much you grind and how much you want to be in this business.
Right. That grind was the word I was thinking. With it being called the Workhorse Championship, dude, you're the guy that goes out there and you grind. You're the guy that goes out there. You're the workhorse, man. That means a lot to any wrestling company, dude. That's a coveted position to hold, man.
Yes, sir, and I'm proud to hold it. I mean, nothing's ever given to you in this business. I mean, you have to work for everything.
Right.
And so to have an actual title that represents what you mean to this business and how much it shows how much work you've put into this business. I don't know how I worded that. That came out weird, but
no, it's all right, dude.
It's a big responsibility. And of course, like I said, the constant grind. Everybody else wants this title. You know, they want to be the one that's recognized as putting in the work. But if they really put in the work, I'll give them a shot at it.
There you go, man. That's what it means right there. Put in the work, get a shot, and maybe you can be the APW Workhorse Champion. Look, dude, now we can get on with all the normal podcast stuff. So talk to me about how you got in this business, who trains you, and just the whole gamut, man. How old you were when you broke in, all that good stuff, man. Take me through it, dude.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start from the very, very beginning, like from when I was a kid. I grew up. I have an older brother. He's 4 years older than me, and we had a bunch of cousins. I grew up with a lot of guys older than I was, so I got roughed up a bit, picked on, whatever. And all of us liked wrestling, man. We had like picture frames of all this stuff, and we would play wrestle or whatever. But with him being so much older than me and bigger than me, I didn't know how to play fight. I was going in on him.
Like you was fighting for your life, huh?
Yeah, right. And I remember one time me and my brother, we were in our bedroom wrestling, and we had this picture frame of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm just a good old 8x6, I believe, or 8x10, I can't remember. And I grabbed it off the wall, and I ran up to my brother and said, "Chair shot, crack." busted the glass. He was. But I mean, I was, I don't know, 6 years old at the time. I didn't know any better.
Got your
But
first hard way at 6. Gave you first hard way, man, right off the bat, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I got in trouble, obviously, but that's one of my favorite earliest memories when it comes to wrestling. But no, as far as getting into professional wrestling, I remember at the start of 2019, I decided like I want to get into wrestling, but I couldn't because I had glasses. I started wearing glasses when I was about 11 years old. And so all of 2019, I decided I'm gonna save my money and I'm gonna get eye surgery to fix my eyes so I don't need glasses. And a couple of months roll around, and I had a friend on Facebook, Justin Jones. He posted this video, and I love telling this story. And he said, "Hey, Ricky Kennedy, you and so and so should do this in a match." And it was some off the wall spot, and it was just ridiculously hilarious. And I saw the name Ricky Kennedy. I goes, I know this guy. Well, I never met him, but I've heard his name before. I know he's around Mariana.
Right.
So I sent him a message on Facebook. I said, hey, I hear you have a wrestling promotion or work in a wrestling promotion. I goes, is there a training school or something you have to go to become a wrestler? He goes, yeah, there's no wrestling promotion out there that'll hire somebody untrained. I goes, well, can you point me in the direction to a school? He goes, well, we got a couple of guys in here working out. You can swing by and come check it out if you want. I said, sure. What's the location? He told me. I goes, I'll be there in 10 minutes. I walked in there. I checked it out, watched the guys. I got introduced to a bunch of people. Ricky, of course. Tommy Too Good. I'm sure you recognize that name.
I had Tommy on the podcast here probably a month or so ago, man.
Yeah, and I just met a bunch of those guys, and and before I left, they told me to just watch, but once everybody left, they brought me in and goes, just hit the ropes 10 times. I said, okay, I can do this. I've seen this a couple of times, and just back and forth. And I started realizing I was getting kind of winded, but I didn't want to look like a chump. So I was like, yeah, no problem. Yeah. And
all that bravado started kicking in, man.
But there was another guy in there. We call him Reaper. And he told me, and I found out this was a lie shortly after. He goes, well, Austin, I just want to let you know, back when I was coming in, if you couldn't take a chair shot, you weren't meant for the business. I goes, well, there's one right there. Let's get this over with. And so technically my first day, whack, chair across the back.
So they was ribbing you at the same time too, right?
Yeah. First day, ribbing the new guy. And actually, I recorded that video because here's my next favorite early pro wrestling memory. I recorded that video, and I stayed with it for about 2 weeks before I told my parents that I was becoming a pro wrestler. And
that's always that's always an adventure, dude. So stop right there for a second and tell me how that went. Tell me how, not only having to tell them, but you already been kind of training at it for a couple of weeks and telling them, and then having to tell them, hey, I'm already doing this. Just take a second and kind of tell me how that worked out for you, dude.
Okay, so we all met up at my grandmother's house, and we were just having dinner or whatever, and I pulled my parents to the side and goes, hey, I want to show y'all something. This is what I've been doing with some of my spare time. And I showed them the video. And as soon as the chair came down, bah!
Oh my God, that's what you showed them right off the bat? Lord.
Yeah. Instantly, my mom ran into the other room crying or whatever. And my dad's over there just like, just laughing, like chuckling. And he asked me, he goes, are you sure you want to do this? I was like, yeah. He said, well, don't get hurt. No promises.
Really, in the wrestling business, man.
Yeah. He said, if you want to do it, go for it, but just know it's a dangerous profession. I said, okay. but they've been supportive ever since about it. And after the initial shock of it, they love coming to the shows.
See, you could have broke them in easy. You could have showed them some rolls, maybe a few flips or something, man. A lock up, a headlock. You gonna take them straight into the chair shot, man. In 2 weeks, look, I've been doing this 2 weeks, and actually, this was the first or second day they hit me over the head with a chair, man. So,
I mean, it's like going into a cold swimming pool. It's best to just jump right on in than easing into it, you know.
right. Well, talk to me about your first, like the first time getting in a wrestling ring, running them ropes. I'm assuming they were steel cables because down here that's what we love. Now WWE likes to have real ropes, but we always use steel cables, and steel cables are unforgiving until you learn about them and you learn how to hit them, man. So talk to me about I tell you what, talk to me about the next morning after the first training session.
Okay, so after my first official training day, I'm not counting the 10 ropes and the chair shot. No, that was just initiation, I'll call it. But the first official training day, the next morning, I mean, I had bruises across my back from the ropes. I had a major headache from not knowing how to bump, you know.
Right.
It was crucial, and I still had work the next morning. But no, those first few weeks until I learned to protect myself, oh, it was crucial. It hurt so bad.
Well, here's the thing. It ain't just learning to protect yourself, man. Your body has to get used to that because even with protecting yourself, you're still taking these bumps. Your body's still taking all this abuse. Man, one of the worst things for me was my very first training session. You take a bump, man, and you don't know to hold your feet up off the ground, so you slam your heels down on the mat. And I did it, dude, over and over and over, and I stone bruised both of my heels. Man, the next morning when I woke up, dude, I thought I was dying. I was sore all over, just like you had the rope bruises, because the cables are unforgiving, man. But dude, my heels, man. Matter of fact, when I got home that night, because we were trained in Nashville and I lived in Helena, and this is back when it's 55 miles an hour, even on the interstate. So it was an 8-hour drive both ways, each way. I mean, it was an all-day trip, all day and night trip. Man, by the time we got out of the car that night when I got home and I pulled my shoes off, I would have swore my heels was coming off with them, man. And like you said, the whiplash effect of banging your head on the mat, you got to keep your head up, keep your heels up, man. Dude, I don't think people realize how much abuse wrestlers take. And they think because they see you do it all the time that it's nothing to it, but your body gets callous like anything else. You do something enough, your body gets callous to it, it gets used to it. And then with proper training and knowing how to do stuff, you hopefully minimize bad bumps and injuries, but they still happen. We all do it, man.
Oh, yeah, it happens. You reminded me of another story. Talking about like people say like, oh, it doesn't hurt that bad because they haven't been in there.
Right.
I remember after my first show, my brother, he meets me outside or whatever. He goes, hey man, dude, I bet them chops don't hurt that bad or whatever. I see y'all walking off all the time. I said, all right, yeah, you can believe what you want to. I start walking by him. I just turn around and just full arm swing, pow, right across the chest. Yeah, he buckled down, fell to his knees. I mean,
hey man,
he wasn't expecting.
Ain't nothing like that first flare chop, dude, man. You get that first chop and you ain't used to it, man. You think it's one thing. It's like, when you're a kid, you got cousins and all that you was talking about. So you can't tell me ain't sometime, especially if you had a sunburn, you got your shirt off and somebody runs up behind you and just smacks you on the back.
Oh,
dude, that's how that chop is, man. It's the same impact, the same feeling, man. It's a tough business, man. It's a tough business. Well, look, you said take me through your first match, man. Tell me where, tell me who, and tell me about how you was before and in the ring and after. Was you nervous as hell?
No. Surprisingly, I wasn't nervous. I was just very excited, which I guess some people would say that is nervous. But no, I was just ready. I was super excited to go out there and yeah. I was just reading the comment there from Thomas
Tom,
Bowles.
yeah, my brother, man, he's too little to chop, man. He's too short, man. If I chop him, he'll send him across the room, man. Now we've had a couple of knockdown, drag out fights, especially when I was a teenager, because I've been bigger than him since I was probably 15 years old. Even though he's 18 years older than me, I've been bigger than him since I was a teenager. So he'd always attack me. We'd get into it, and he'd attack me out of nowhere, back jump me, or hit me when I was sitting down, and then he'd run to the bedroom and lock his door so I couldn't get in, and then threaten to call the cops on me. So take me through that, man, because me personally, I was a nervous wreck, dude. My first match, dude. So take me through that. You're not too bad nervous. You're excited. Take me through the music hitting, breaking the curtain, the whole nine, dude.
Okay, all right. So, first match, like I said, super excited. As far as how long the match was, I remember I was in that ring for about a good 35 minutes, and the person that I wrestled was the entire locker room.
So explain this to me. So are they just breaking you in, basically?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, it was a test to test my endurance and how bad I wanted this, but no, we called it a battle bowl, and it was essentially a battle royal, but instead of being thrown over the top rope to be eliminated, you could be eliminated that way, but you could also be eliminated via pinfall or submission.
Okay.
So when I first started, I had this idea in my head that I wanted to be heel, and they kind of gave us a little bit creative freedom with it, like because well, it's really not your choice. You'll have to wait to see how the fans respond to you to determine that. I was
Right.
okay, and so I had all this blackout gear. I had a mask, leather vest, just all this blacked out gear, whatever. And my hair was longer then than it is now, and my music's hitting, and right as soon as it's time for me to break through the curtain, I step through, and like people see the long hair, goes, "Oh, that's cool," and my family's over in the corner, like, yeah. So I get a pop, and I goes, "Well, there goes that idea. I guess I'm face."
Got to
And
get all new gear and everything. I done bought all this black and all this heel shit, and I got to switch it up already.
Yeah, half of my gear at the time was borrowed, because I wasn't expecting to have that match so soon.
Right.
But right before I walk through the curtain, I hear just this general consensus like save Austin for last, and I started the match. This
Ah,
other like 6'6", 240-pound monster of a dude, and me and him started the thing, and they said, we're all putting our finishes on you. Sorry, and we're not gonna pin you. So
they got your ass.
come time.
They worked you right off the bat, man.
Oh yeah, just like I didn't just get ribbed. I got the whole rack. But sure enough, I mean, come time for that last person, there was like 3 other people in the ring at this time, and I'm blowed up. I'm like, and just gasping for air, just could not breathe. My lungs are on fire. My head hurts, and I'm pretty sure I got knocked out at the end until somebody like rolled me out the ring, and I was going to fall face first. But anyway, so that's all said and done, and I go back, to the locker room, immediately go to the fridge, bottle of water, finish that one, threw it away. Next one, I drank 3 bottles of water back to back. It was brutal. But
Man, I used to get the cotton mouth so bad out there, dude. And like you're talking about breathing, being blowed up, man, you be gasping for air, and you're like, I know it's coming in, but I don't feel it, man. It ain't doing nothing, man. You're just searching for a life breath, dude.
right, just any kind of second wind would be great, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. Yeah.
Man, nerves will do that to you. Not being nervous, I see you. I used to do it. I see guys still do it all the time. You can be in the best shape in the world, and you go out and get in that ring, and you get a little anxious, start getting nervous. It'll blow you up quicker than anything else, dude. In a heartbeat, you can be you can run a 10-mile marathon, and if you get nervous just right in that ring, you can be blowed up in 2 minutes, man. It's a different kind of win. People don't take into consideration that you're up, you're down, you're moving. It's constant. Even if you grab a headlock, usually you don't hold that mug but 30, 40 seconds at the longest sometimes, and then you're back to moving up, down, getting thrown around, throwing people around. There's a lot that goes into it, man. And the thing about wrestling people don't understand, it's a thinking man's sport. People see it in the ring, but they don't realize the whole time you're doing everything you're doing, you're still thinking about what's next, what's coming, what's next, where we're supposed to be. It's a thinking man's sport, man. You really got to have a good mind on you to be a wrestler. People don't never take that into consideration. You're constantly thinking. You got to be thinking of your next move the whole time you're doing everything you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look. So, no, go ahead, dude.
I was gonna touch back on the thing about blowing up faster than you think with the whole thinking game. There was this one guy I wrestled, and I'm already in the ring. I'm waiting on him to come out, and I'm getting ready. I'm in my fighting position or whatever, and he comes out and he's getting the crowd behind him, and he's yelling, "Yeah, come on, rah, rah, rah!" He just all this yelling or whatever. He gets in the ring. They ring the bell. We lock up. He's like, "What do you want to do?" He's just blown up. I said, "All right, man, I got you."
Yeah, man, I see dudes do that all the time where their entrance is so long and do so much that by the time they get in the ring and the match starts, they're already gassed out, man.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
So look, dude. So you basically started with APW. You've been with APW all this time, but I've seen you on some Bluff City wrestling too.
Yes, I worked there for about a year, but just situations at home and stuff. It just I got caught in a bind, and I just let me just step away. I don't want to be a hindrance to the show.
Right.
I didn't want to end on bad terms, and hopefully I didn't. But I had fun working there. It was just great group of guys. But at the time, it was just I really don't know how to explain it.
Let me ask you this: was it your
wrong time for it?
Right. Well, wrestling's all about timing, dude.
Definitely.
It is, man. Sometimes time's just not right for certain things, and then sometimes years can pass, and then the same situation pop up, and all of a sudden it's right. It works out perfect. Exactly. Wrestling's all about timing too. Was your time at Bluff City your first TV time?
I believe I had a different TV taping for this other company, DCW, over in Charleston, Mississippi. I can't remember where that was broadcasted, but I believe I was there for one TV taping for that one. That was before Bluff City.
Right. So Bluff City was basically your first. Because you worked Bluff City a pretty good bit. I remember seeing you on when the show first started and stuff and starts coming on. You worked Bluff City a good while. And so that was really your first taste of doing TV on a regular basis.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, let me ask you something, dude. How was it for you to transition from working a normal show, your normal shows, house shows, to working on TV? Was it how was the transition for you? Was it an issue, or did you just sail right through, man?
For the most part, I mostly breezed through it, but the one part that I had problems with at first was remembering where the hard camera was.
Right.
Like I was working in the wrong directions, but after a while it started becoming almost like second nature to me. I started learning like where they want to keep their hard cam and where the moving camera was.
Right.
Really, I would say that was my first few hiccups as far as transitioning from live shows to TV tapings.
I think that's everybody, dude.
Mhm.
I mean, unless you're one of these guys that's lucky enough to kind of start with a company that starts you out with TV, and you're around it, you don't really know, because when you're working normal shows, you don't have to worry about only positioning you got to worry about you and your opponent, man. If it's a tag match, positioning your opponent where you want him or don't want him. But it is an issue, man, going from, especially if you've never ever been around TV, going from working house shows, just working normal shows, to TV. Because the first thing I was told, always, if it's a TV taping or live TV, always go find the hard camera for yourself. Go look and find out where the hard camera is right off the bat, so you at least know that. Because the thing about the mobile cameras, that's why they're mobile. It's their
Right.
job to catch the in-betweens, but the hard camera is what all your spots or whatever, the important stuff, that's what you want on the hard camera. So always look for the hard camera. But that's like I said, I think that's any wrestler out there, man. All right, we got a comment from Joseph Earl Dawson. Says, hello, Buster, and hello, Austin Wrathchild. Austin, do you remember me? I remember you from Bluff City Wrestling.
Yeah. There was a lot of people in Bluff City, and I can't quite make out your picture, but I believe if I've met you in person, I would recognize you. But as far as just names, I'm terrible with names.
You was finna try to bullshit through that, wasn't you? You was, because I do that all the time. You was thinking to yourself, man, I wonder if I can get away with this, man. I'm gonna try to act like I don't know. Maybe I ain't gonna try to act like I know for sure who you are, dude. I do the same
thing. But I'm gonna look him up, see if I can actually put a face to the name, and who knows, I might actually remember him. But Joseph, I'm sorry, I didn't mean any offense. It's been, like I said, it's been a while since I worked Bluff.
Right. Joseph, man, we appreciate you tuning in and watching, man. I appreciate the support, dude. It ain't my fault he didn't remember you, man. Well, look,
but you didn't call me out on it. That's your fault.
Well, man, I had to make it funny, man, dude. I called you out on it because, dude, I do that. Look, I can remember names but faces. Like, I have people walk up to me all the time that know me, and just by the conversation, just by the way they talk to me, I know that they 100% know me for sure. And I'm sitting there in my head thinking, the whole time they're talking, I'm trying to figure out, rack my brain of, oh shit, who is this? Where do I know this person from? Sometimes it comes to me, sometimes it don't. I've become a good faker at it, man. So a lot of times I don't ever get busted on it. I get away with it, dude.
So it takes one to know one, huh?
Right, man. Joseph is back, and he said, I was at the February 4th, 2023 TV taping. There you go. We're getting dates and times. So, hey, look, you're on the witness stand right now. It is February 4th, 2023. Austin Wrathchild, where were you?
Ooh, well, I'm just gonna say Joseph's memory is way better than mine. Let me put it that way.
We know you was at the Bluff City TV taping because he knows you were there.
You caught me red-handed. Let's see, 2023. I don't know. I've taken quite a few bumps, man. My memory's kind of messed up right now.
You got to remember, Joseph, his first introduction into the wrestling business was a steel chair. So, yeah. His memory might not be the greatest. Well, look, dude, so you kind of took us into your first match and stuff. Okay, after that, did you just stick with APW, or how long did it take you before you started kind of branching out and wanting to, go out and test the waters and work at other places?
Yeah, it was about somewhere between a year and a half before I started branching out in other companies.
Right.
Like I said, I'm trying to remember the first company I worked for outside of APW. Hmm. I want to say it was either DCW or Redeemed Wrestling were my first shows outside of APW.
Well, talk to me about those. How was it to leave the home base, man, new young wrestler, and go to another company, another place, other wrestlers, and a new audience, man? How was that?
It's always surprising seeing newer audiences because they don't know what to expect from you. You don't know what to expect from them. But it's definitely one of the better learning experiences because you can find out like what small things can work for any crowd regardless of where you're
Right.
at. And really the best thing I can say is working for other places for the first time, it's way easier working heel than face. You know, because my first time working at DCW, I was working heel, and and the match that we had set up, it was my first time there. They didn't know what to expect, like I said, and we asked the booker, I goes, who do you want heel or face in this match, or all this and that, and he says, well, I want him face, so you have to be heel. I goes, okay, well, it's a good thing I'm going out first then, right? He goes, yeah, definitely. I goes, great. And so I go out there and immediately I'm just pulling this arrogant, I'm better than you. Look at my hair. You guys couldn't expect to get anything like this. Even you women, just dogging this crowd, like, going up to high five kids, and as soon as they swing, I move my hand, just
Dirty,
being a
dirty, dirty, man.
yeah. I mean, not necessarily just being hateful, just being mean. And so I step in the ring, and I believe that was his first or second time working there also, but as soon as his music hit and as soon as he stepped through the curtain, the roof blew off. They didn't care who stepped through. They just wanted somebody to kick my teeth in.
Right, man, and you know, that's how it should be, man. You send your heel out first because if your heel goes out and does his job, like you say, they really don't care who breaks that curtain. They're going to pop for that baby face. Now, if it's someone they're really into, they're going to pop even bigger. But the heel sets that baby face up to get that reaction, and that's the way it should be, man. And you talking about. I think it's universal with wrestlers. All wrestlers pretty much say heels easier. You know, I'm actually the opposite. I love heel because that's what I am now. Well, I'm half heel. Uh, but as a baby face, the one thing, the first, because I was a heel from the first, when I first started, I was heel for years and years, for probably several years before I ever was a baby face. And I was worried, and man, as a heel, heel's fun.
Oh,
Heel,
heels amazing.
heel's a blast, but as a baby face, man, you can just, especially if you're an unknown baby face, they don't know who you are. You ain't got to put on no airs. As a heel, you got to have some bravado. You got to have some attitude. As a baby face, man, they look. Be truthful. As a baby face, a lot of times, especially an unknown baby face, I like not even having music. You just walk out to the ring because these people have no preconceived notion of who you are or what you're about. And as a babyface, all you got to do is not be a heel. You
Right.
don't have to really go shake hands or nothing. You just got to get in the ring, wrestle, walk to the ring, be a clean wrestler, let your heel do his stuff. But for me, I loved babyface because it was easier than heel because you just didn't have to do nothing. As a babyface, I didn't have to do nothing. I mean, really, as a heel, I'm doing all kind of stuff. I'm screaming. I'm just always on my opponent, which I love heel. I'm naturally a heel, but I got that flip side. It's a baby face, but all wrestlers universally say heel's the easiest. I guess I'm an anomaly on that, dude.
Well, I mean, it depends on how you or what you prefer doing. Like, do you prefer just beating people down, just making fun of the crowd, or do you enjoy not having to do much and just get the snot whooped out of you and make your comebacks and go home?
Well, here's the thing. You say I think that's one thing people don't realize as a heel. It ain't a good heel does not go out there and get their heat by messing with the crowd. A good heel goes out there and gets his heat by what he does to his opponent, that baby face. That's how you get good, real heel heat. And I think a lot of people, even in the big time now, they do it. They get a lot of cheap heat. Where Bill Dundee was the first person that told me, he said, "Look," he said, "you don't get your heat. You don't get your heat by going out there, and you don't get your heat off of messing with the crowd. You get your heat off of what you do to that baby face. That's how a good heel gets real heat." And I was young when he told me that, man, but over time, man, I seen that to be true, dude. A good heel concentrate on your opponent and your baby face. And here's the right heat. When you're doing stuff to them and the fans are hot, that means they're into both of y'all. That means they're into him. They want him to win. They want him to kick your ass. But that also means you're doing your job right because they want him to kick your ass. Anybody can go out and point at a fan and call them fat or stupid or redneck or no teeth. What are you married to your sister, whatever? But they need to bring back heels that get their heat off of their opponents, because that's when you really get people's emotions. You get people invested into what you're doing. You can get a reaction out of any fan. If you go out there and cuss at them, they're going to cuss back. But when you get a reaction by doing something to that baby face and they're reacting to it, then you know right then you got these people. You got them where you want them. That's good heel stuff. Well, look, so you've worked these other shows. You've done some Bluff City.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you first started with APW, let's talk about APW for a few minutes, because actually I've got the boss man. Here in a couple of weeks, I got Ricky Kennedy. He's coming on, and we're going to be talking a lot about APW. I've been dying to learn about APW. I just never had connections, and then I talked to Tommy. I had Mike Rios on first, and then I talked to Tommy Too Good, had him on. You're here. I've got Ricky coming on. I think it's February the 11th on a Sunday. Don't hold me to that. I could be mistaken. I don't have my book right in front of me. But look, APW. So talk to me about APW, because the one thing I know is that APW runs some good shows. Y'all draw good crowds. And here's the thing. That right there is the measuring stick. It is the attendance, the audience, man. And y'all always seem to draw crowds, sometimes really big crowds. So talk to me about what makes APW click like that. Talk to me about APW in general, dude. You started there, so you're an APW guy through and through. So talk to me about APW, man.
Okay. I really think the real magic behind APW, if that's the right word I'm looking for, is in the locker room. Like sure, we I'm not gonna say horse around or whatever, but we joke around with each other, all this and that. And I remember when I first started, we made it clear to everybody who was training at the time, like whenever we start doing these shows, like there's going to be like no drama. Like if you have a problem with somebody, let's address it. Let's get it out the way. Come to one of us. Like just anything of the sort. Like any kind of drama was squashed on the spot before it got out of hand. And like we've had guys, from outside of APW come in, work shows with us, or whatever, and like more times than none, people are like, this locker room was one of the best we've been in. You guys treat us well. You treat us like family. When you have that kind of connection in the locker room, when you get out into the ring, everything just kind of folds into itself. Everybody works well together, and that's what the crowd likes to see. Just a good match. Heel, face, doesn't matter. Like when there's that chemistry, that's what brings the people in.
Right.
And truth be told, like we've had shows where we ran out of chairs. It was standing room only, and I believe the locker room itself is where all that happens.
No, that's 100%, dude. Here's the thing. You need energy at a pro wrestling event. Look, and it starts with the guys. If the fans come in there, here's the thing. If I walk in a building and there's already fans in there and they're just sitting around, there's no music playing, nothing's going on, they're just all sitting there like stumps on a log, then right there, yes, the energy, there's no energy, but that all stems from the energy that the locker room creates. They can feel that energy vibrates through the building. If everybody in the back is having fun, busting each other's balls, and enjoying what they're doing, that's what it's all about, dude. The best crews are the crews that are in the back the whole time. They're laughing, they're joking, they're having fun, but they're still taking care of business outside in the ring when it comes time to. That's when you get your best shows, and that the fans feel that energy. They feel that if the guys are enthused, the fans are going to be enthusiastic. If the guys are dead and dull, the show's going to be dead and dull. It's just as simple as that, dude. So a good locker room goes a long way. And look, I've never been there, but just from the shows I see, APW has to have a good locker room, a lot of camaraderie in the locker room.
Oh, definitely. Let's see. I'm trying to find the words to explain this. Like like despite all the joking around and stuff we do, like we try to hold each other to a certain standard when it comes to professionalism.
Right.
Because showing how professional you can be, like inside and outside the ring, like that shows how much you care about this business. And when you care about the business, you want the business to succeed. And when you want that business to succeed, you make it succeed. And I believe that's how we get it to where we have these great shows. Because when everybody's working towards the success of a show, that's when the show becomes successful.
And that all goes back to respect. Respect for the business, respect for each other. If you got respect for the business, then you want this business to be viewed in the best light you can possibly present it in. And being professional, looking professional, acting professional, all that makes that happen, man. All that.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
So look, dude, I know y'all got a big show. I think it's this Saturday night in Marianna.
Yes, sir.
Let me. I got a graphic for it. Let me pull it up, and you can kind of tell us about everybody who talk to us about it, and maybe tell us you know who you facing yet? Is it something we can let out on the show?
Well, I mean, how can I put this? Well, let me put it to you as simply as I can. I do not know at this time. I honestly and truly, right hand on the Bible, I have no idea. Like,
dude, that's how most shows are, man. So look, y'all got this big show coming up, Marianna, Arkansas. It's this Saturday night. Talk to us about pro wrestling in Marianna, because me and you were chatting before we went on, and I'm from Helena, Arkansas, which is 15 miles from Marianna, 15, 17 miles from Marianna. When I was growing up, the only wrestling we got in either place was Jerry Lawler, TV5 wrestling ever so often. And I don't think Marianna got it. We only got it a few times in Helena. And truthfully, I don't remember it ever being in Marianna but one time. But talk to me about Marianna, and talk to me about Marianna actually having its own wrestling company, a thriving wrestling company, dude.
Yeah. Okay. I'm about to take a little history dive here. One half of the tag team champions we got there, Tommy Too Good, you know him.
Right.
The guy on the right side of the flyer there with the crown, that's Floyd Flair, fabulous Floyd Flair, baby. Let me get that out there. Back in the day, they used to have a show out in West Helena and Helena area called GCW.
Right.
And those two guys, they were on that show. There were a couple other guys on there, and I remember going to one show when I was younger, about somewhere between 12 and 14 years old, somewhere around there. And the reason we went because some of my dad's cousins were also working that show, and I didn't know it at the time, but I seen some of these guys that I worked with in APW back then, at that show. And so, like I said, there's two of them on this flyer here, and I've gotten to know them. They become these great people in my life. They treat me like family, and that was one thing about APW. Like when I started, a lot of these guys knew each other. Some of them were related, but everybody knew each other in one shape, form, or another. But when I started, I didn't know any of them. But after I started speaking to them, whatever, just shortly after, it was just this camaraderie. They treated me like one of their own. And,
Right.
that was something I really appreciated. But but as far as some of the other guys on this flyer, let's see. Mike Real is in the bottom right corner. You said you've had him on here before.
Right. Yeah, I've had Mike a couple months ago, man. I love Mike.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's a talented dude, man. Talented dude in the ring.
Oh, definitely. Like, we first met him through Redeemed Wrestling, along with Jackson Crowley center photo there.
Right.
We met those guys over at Redeemed Wrestling. That was the first place I've seen them, at least. But then we started doing like I wouldn't say collaboration shows, but we would use some of their guys, they would use some of ours, and we developed this friendship or whatever. And now, I mean, they come to our locker room, we greet them, handshake, hug,
Right.
that whole deal. Like, I mean, we've known them for years now, and just great group of guys. That's the simplest way I can put it. Let's see, who else do we have here? Night Train. He was another one of the GCW guys. I didn't see in the comment sections or in the way, but he's been in this business for a while. And excuse me, but yeah, he's another great guy. I've shared the ring with him once in my years. I wouldn't mind doing it again. That was an experience for me. The guys just right below me there on the screen, the two guys, with the faces going on.
Right.
Those guys, man, I simply don't have the words. Like they are so talented. Like, I mean, they go by fully gifted athletes, and that name describes them to a T.
I've seen a little bit of their stuff, man. I try to catch what footage I can. When y'all have shows and there is some footage, I try to check it out, man. And I've checked those guys out. They're talented in the ring, man. I love the name, man. Fully gifted athletes. It's cool, dude. I like it.
It is. And like as great as they are in the ring, they still know how to like make it entertaining for the fans to watch. Like whether they're heel or face, like they know how to get the crowd invested in them. Like
right.
Whether to boo them or to cheer them, they have this like magnet for crowd reaction, and I can only say good things about those guys.
Well, look, man, like I said, I've got the Boss Man coming on in a couple of weeks, but here, the one thing I know and understand, when you have a good wrestling promotion and you have a good crew, you have to have a good leader. So talk to me about Ricky Kennedy as the leader of APW, man, because that's one of the biggest necessities is having a guy that knows what he's doing and that has good relationships with his talent, with his fans, promotes his shows. And that's the one thing y'all seem to always do, man. Y'all always promote the hell out of the shows, man. Y'all always put on good shows, and y'all always draw crowds. I mean, really, y'all truthfully, y'all draw consistently some of the best crowds out of the indie companies around here, dude. So talk to me about Ricky Kennedy for a few minutes, man. Tell me about how it is to work with and for Ricky.
Okay, so working, I'm glad you said with and for, because that's a completely different ball game. Working for Ricky Kennedy, there's a reason we call it all professional wrestling. When it comes down to business, like whenever things need to get done, there's a select few of us, like he'll call like, hey, are you in town tonight? I need you to turn the fans on, just to clear up some wet spots in the ring. Most of the time it's me because, like I said, I only live 10 minutes down the road. But when it comes to working forward, strictly business, we get what we need done, timely fashion, just the sooner the better, everything done to the best of our abilities. Now, working with him, he is a nut. Like, he goofy as he wants to be, about as ignorant as all outside,
So now, let me ask you this. Now, I may be mistaken, but he works as Buster Cherry. Am I right about that, or am I wrong about that? Talk to me about Buster Cherry, man.
Okay. He told us that story. He's changed it for APW because we try to keep a PG showing, and for those
I was going to say that's a little it's a little double entendre, a little name right there. So
for all the kids watching, don't listen to this. Just you'll find out later. But no, he told us that story. He was working some show, and I believe he said it was Coco Beware. Walked up to him, shook his hand, and Coco asked him. He goes, "What's your name, there, kid?" And Ricky just he said, he goes, "At the time I was just full of hot steam up here." I goes, "My name's Buster Cherry." Coco said, "Love it," and he just rode with it. That was the story I was told. I wasn't there for it, but I'm saying from what I've heard, that knowing Ricky, I believe he would say something like that to Coco Beware.
Dude, man, that's how shit happens in the wrestling business, man. That's the honest truth, man. And the bad thing, you don't know if Coco really dug the name or is he just working Ricky. Like, all right, kid, I'm out of here, dude. You stick Buster Cherry, right? But dude, that's how the wrestling business works, man. It's always been that way.
Yeah.
So look, dude, we're fixing to have to start wrapping up, but talk to me about Austin Wrathchild and your goals and aspirations in the wrestling business. Is this something that you would like to make a career out of, but to become your career one day, or you just like doing what you're doing?
Okay, so I've been asked that from quite a few people, not just on podcasts, but just like even family. They ask me like how far do you want to take this? And my answer is usually like as far as I'm willing to take it. Like I'll push it as far as it'll let me.
Right.
Like because anything can happen in this business. Like you understand like how dangerous this is. Like one bad injury, poof, it's in the air. So as far as like climbing the ladder of success, like as long as I'm doing better than I was the day before, as long as I'm making progress, I'm here for the trip.
There you go, man. Look, it's like if you was a surfer, man. Wrestling works in waves, dude. And like we talked about earlier, timing. Sometimes the waves ain't coming in your favor. Other times, man, they come in and you got to ride them and see where they take you. Because you never know in this business, man. Look, you can get picked up. You can get grabbed by a wave in Marianna, Arkansas at APW. The right person see you, and there's no telling where that wave can take you, where you'll end up at, dude. And that's a good mentality to have in the wrestling business. Right, push it as far as you can push it, man. You never know. Here's the thing: it's better to push it as far as you can push it, and if you don't make it, no harm, no foul, because there's a lot of us that didn't make it. That don't mean that we're any less. That don't mean you're any less than you were. There's a lot of great wrestlers out there that, for whatever reason, just didn't either get the right opportunity or the right break, and a lot of wrestlers screw their own opportunities up sometimes.
Right.
It's just life. It's just like life, man. You just got to kind of take it as it comes. Do your best, push for the best, and hope for the best,
Right. I mean, the way I see it, like, I'm living my dream right now. Like, Am I on national TV? No, but I'm enjoying putting on these shows like in the indies because I mentioned this in a podcast, another podcast. I've never been to a live WWE event. Simply because growing up, money was a struggle. We didn't, the only wrestling I watched was on TV,
Right.
and so I never got to meet like my favorites, my childhood heroes or whatever. And which that's changed over time. I've met Mick Foley, I've met Farouk, I've met some of these guys, but I always thought like if I could become some other kid's hero and they could come see me for $10 a night at APW, give them that opportunity that I didn't have. That's the best feeling in the world.
Right, right. Least. Look, everybody, wrestling's all about positioning and role, man. Everybody's got a role in this business, man. If you earn a spot and earn a role, that don't mean you're the leading man, It's kind of like any wrestling. Guys get caught up in winning or losing, and man, if you're worried about winning or losing, and you're in the pro wrestling business, you're in the wrong damn business. You need to go be an MMA fighter, be a boxer, whatever. Right. You need to go do something else if it's that big a deal, because you should know beforehand that this ain't that kind of business. Wins and losses do not matter. The people. It's who gets over and makes that connection with those fans. Those become the biggest stars. And look, like I said, all of us aren't meant to be Roman Reigns or Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair. It takes a hell of a lot of Arn Andersons and Motley Cruises and Danny B. Goods and all these different people. Everybody, be happy with your. I don't want to say be happy with your position, but don't be bitter about wrestling if it don't work out to the fullest. Because me and Johnny Dotson had this conversation 2 nights ago about feeling like when I broke in my head, it was the intentions. I wanted to be the world champion. That was the goal. I mean, honestly. And I feel like that there's a lot of, over the past 15 or 20 years, that a lot of people break in the business, and that's not their goal anymore. Their goal is to be the hometown hero. And here's the thing, that's fine. That is perfectly fine. Everybody, like I said, wrestling, everybody's got a part to play. Everybody's not meant to be the big leading man star.
Right.
Sometimes you're the you're the hammer, and other times you're the nail in the wrestling business, and that's just the business. That's the way it is.
Oh, definitely. Like,
go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
To touch back on what you were saying about like people being upset about like not winning, all this and that, and this is a lesson that we teach a lot of our newcomers that come train with us at APW. We got a lot of young guys coming in, training. We're showing them the ropes, both literally and figuratively. And one of the main things that we tell them is that going over doesn't matter. It's getting over is what matters.
Exactly. Right. That's a mouthful right there, man. That is a mouthful. I agree 100%, man. That's what wrestling's all about, dude. You got to get over and make a connection with those fans if you want to have any sustained career in the wrestling business, whether it's at the smallest level or the biggest level. The way you get over with them, getting over with the fans, is the recipe for success. Either way,
Definitely.
Dude, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. This has been one of my most fun shows, man. I mean, we never met each other, dude, and I feel like, man, we had a blast, dude. I had a blast talking with you, man. It was fun, dude.
Yeah, I'm a fun guy. What can I say?
There's that heel coming out.
I'm honest. Yeah.
So let me ask you. I'm assuming you're a good guy right now with the Workhorse title, or are you a bad guy?
Oh no, I'm a good guy.
That's what I thought,
like
man.
People happy,
Man, you look like a nice, clean cut baby face. You got the hair, but you look like a nice white meat baby face, man. That's what I thought. But we can see that little heel coming out of you, though, man. Heels always got to put themselves over some way, dude. No, Austin, look, man, I appreciate you for coming on and giving me your time, man. Like I said, this is actually, I've had a blast, dude. It's been one of my most fun shows that I've ever done, dude.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me.
Brother, I want to wish you luck in your wrestling career and in your life. And I want to wish you luck this Saturday night. I hope to see you keep that APW workhorse title, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks for
having
me.
Have a good night. Yes, sir. Take it easy. All right, y'all. You seen it right there. Austin Wrathchild, APW workhorse champion. This Saturday night, Marianna, Arkansas. Go see APW. I'm telling you, this is one of the better shows, period, anywhere around our area. They always put on an excellent show. The fans are excited. There's great matches, man. It's not been that long ago. Buck Skinner went against Fred Rosser, which, for those of you who don't know, was Darren Young in the WWE, man. The APW's got some of the best talent around. Go check them out. Awesome company, awesome talent, awesome wrestling show. Look, not tomorrow night, Thursday night, Premier Pro Wrestling Crew will be live with me. 7 p.m. like always. Buster Unmasked, Thursday night. The Premier Pro Wrestling Crew will be here. They've got a big show coming up in Bradford, Tennessee, Saturday night at the high school. That's another show you do not want to miss. If you're around Marianna, go to APW. If you're around Bradford, Tennessee, go to Premier Pro Wrestling. Two of the best shows around this area, bar none. Everybody, I want to thank all of y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all sticking with us. I appreciate everybody who interacted with us. And you guys, y'all have a good night. If you're looking for a pro wrestling podcast with me, Buster Unmasked is the only podcast for you, where real pro wrestlers talk real pro wrestling and no bullshit allowed.